$50, taking on new meaning for those who say that they take President Trump seriously after he once again floated the idea of running for a third term, despite being prohibited from doing so by the 22nd Amendment. Today, the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, himself a constitutional lawyer, revealed that he has in fact spoken about the possibility with the president.
I think the president knows, and he and I have talked about the constrictions of the Constitution, as much as so many of the American people lament that. The Trump 2028 cap is one of the most popular that's ever been produced, and he has a good time with that, trolling the Democrats whose hair is on fire about the very prospect. I don't see a way to amend the Constitution because it takes about 10 years to do that, as you all know, to allow all the states to ratify what 2/3 of the House and 3/4 of the states would approve. So I don't see the path for that.
All right, my panel's here in the arena: CNN legal analyst Elliot Williams, Republican strategist and pollster Kristen Soltis Anderson, former communications director with the DNC Mo Alithi, and CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings. Welcome to all of you. Scott Jennings, you're on the record talking about what you think about the possibility of the president running for a third term. And I should note, we do have our text chain here is going to provide some additional commentary on this as we talk about it. I found it remarkable that the speaker acknowledged that he had spoken with the president about the quote unquote constrictions around this. And it really seems to speak to this question of whether or not this is just a massive troll or something the president's actually thinking about. What do you think?
I think he's trolling the Democrats, which he loves to do, and they fall for it every time. They've been doing it for 10 years on a number of issues. You know, the president himself acknowledged that this sort of gimmicky idea about, electing a vice president. I mean, I guess the other gimmick would be to elect him Speaker of the House and then have the president, vice president. And these are all gimmicks. He said it would be too cute by half, and he's right. He's not going to need a third term. He's had 2 very successful terms, I'm sure, by the end of 2028. But I think this is a troll. I think people are unnecessarily falling for it, and I think they're probably selling a ton of hats because of it, and they're laughing the entire time it's happening.
Let's watch what Senator Tommy Tuberville said about this, just because I think it speaks to this big question of how seriously should this be taken. Watch.
If you read the Constitution, it says he's not, but if he says he has some different circumstances that might be able to go around the Constitution, but that's up to him. We got a long way to go before that happens. Well, I think that there's going to have to be an evaluation from President Trump's viewpoint to the Constitution. There'll be a lot of legal aspects to it. Will it happen? It's very unlikely, but don't ever close the book on President Trump.
I mean, Scott, he seems to be much more open to it. And I guess the thing I can't help thinking about is the weeks before January 6th of 2021, when I was on the phone with people like Lindsey Graham, who would say, you know what, just let him have his moment. Just let him work through in public the fact that he didn't win the election. Let him contest it. Let him try it in the courts. It'll all be fine in the end. And we learn later that there actually is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with electors in the states. And then ultimately there's a mob that shows up at the Capitol on January 6th. And a lot of that talk about how none of it should be taken that seriously turned out to really not be the correct way to look at it. Do you think something like that could be happening here? I mean, certainly Tommy Tuberville has laid, he's one Republican, but he's laid out what you could see as the ensuing logic.
What would you do? I mean, how would you run? How would you go about
it?
Well,
you just named like 2 possibilities, right, that are being talked about, right?
And so, I guess I don't take this very seriously, truthfully. And the president himself on Air Force One the other night acknowledged that the sort of gimmicky idea was too cute. American people wouldn't go for it. He also then started immediately talking about how J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, in his opinion, would be a powerful team to carry the ball into the future. I think if you were planning to run, you wouldn't be talking about the next iteration of your political movement.
Very possible. Elliot Williams, legally speaking, are there any, look, the internet is full of these theories. MAGA world has all of these thoughts and feelings about how maybe he sets himself up to be vice president, blah, blah, blah. Is there a legal road around the 22nd Amendment that doesn't involve the 10-year process of changing the Constitution?
There's a legal road around anything in the United States if you're willing to just disregard the Constitution. And I just think, sure, it can happen if people don't stop it, right? It's But I agree with Scott fully. This is a troll. This is the kind of thing designed to make Democrats' hair explode. It's also a test at the same time for congressional Republicans. And each time one of them is asked, does the president have the right to do this? If the answer is anything other than no, they're either trolling the Republicans, trolling the public, trolling Democrats.
Or they're afraid of President
Or
Trump.
afraid of President Trump, whatever it might be. But there are far bigger fish to fry, and we talk about them every day on here. Far bigger things to get angry about than something that has no legal basis whatsoever. And I just think, you're Democrats love taking the bait. They
I
just
do not observe your hair to be on fire at the moment.
If I had any,
I didn't want to say
that'd be a small brush fire.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. No, look, I'm actually mostly in agreement here. Mostly. I mean, this president knows how to do a couple of things really, really, really well. He knows how to delight his supporters. Check. He knows how to troll Democrats. Check. He knows how to stay relevant and control a news cycle. Check. But he also has been, and for all those reasons, I think this thing is, not real. But he also has been raising concerns amongst a big number of Americans about his amassing of power, about how he has continued to put more and more power into the executive that wasn't there before. 7 million people turned out at these rallies a couple of weeks ago. And while they were all holding signs about completely different issues, the through line for all of them was about how he is trying to amass all this power. So you don't have to take this seriously, but politically, I don't think it's a very smart thing to do, because all these people who are getting animated, who are getting excited, and whose hair is on fire, and are already showing a willingness to take political action, it's another data point.
real quick, I'm sorry, Chris, just real quick. The ruining of the Justice Department, I think, is here right now. That's the legal issue to worry about. I just think all this nonsense about can President Trump keep being president forever is the kind of thing that Democrats lose their mind. Sorry.
Yeah, and also, I mean, what is somewhat baffling about all of this to me is a lot of times when you have a lame duck president, someone who they are not going to be on a ballot again, there's a question of relevance, right? But Donald Trump doesn't have the problem of not being relevant. I mean, Republicans are not thinking, well, this guy's not going to be on a ballot anymore. Let's just worry about who will win the next primary. He very much is beloved by his base, has a strong, firm grip on the Republican Party. He doesn't need the prospect of being president again in 2028 to remain relevant. He has cemented himself, at least for the short to medium term, as the leader of the Republican Party, even if he is technically a lame duck.
Which may explain partly why some Republicans are indulging this conversation. All right. My thanks to our text chain, rest of our panel will stand by. Coming up next year, we are standing by for an update from the National Hurricane Center on Hurricane Melissa as it tears through Jamaica. But first, Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego will be here live. A new milestone is bringing the government shutdown to an airport near you. And dozens of states are suing the Trump administration over withholding critical funding for food assistance.
We just asked my Democratic friends to keep government open. It's not like we're asking them to sell a kidney or something.